Since I've gotten into the board game hobby, I've purchased many games, both new and used. For me, it's just been about availability. It's been about my interests. It's been about cost. It's been about all of these factors and considerations that go into purchasing a game for myself. Today, I just wanted to sort of unpack how I think about new versus used board games and purchasing them and adding them to your collection to be played and to be enjoyed. Why this matters. In board games, prices have increased, no, have increased over time with inflation due to other factors. $60 Canadian for me, and maybe for other, for everybody, it's variable. Used to feel expensive. Now it's sort of a normal price. It sometimes can feel cheap. Deluxe editions, expansions can push games, over $100, $200. Kickstarters and all ins, as we all know, when we're talking about Zombicide, when we're talking about chip theory games, et cetera, miniatures, deluxe components, the prices of these games can soar. Shelf space is another consideration, right? How much shelf space do you have, and is that a consideration in your thinking? Sometimes you can purchase games, sometimes you can sell games, and for everybody, that's a different consideration. Rising prices, I think, are pushing, and the state of the economy can be pushing gamers towards the used market. And a lot of people have fear towards the used market, right? They don't. It's a fear of the unknown versus the comfort of buying brand new. Is the used market per then becoming more normal in the hobby? So, having said that, I want to talk about my experience buying games new. Early in the hobby, I purchased many games, from Seven Wonders to Ticket to Ride to Settlers of Catan. These were all purchased new from stores. I didn't know very much about the board gaming space. As I started to research in various sites, used markets where people would list games, I started to research and go down that rabbit hole. And I found that the prices were generally anywhere from 15% all the way to 50% lower than MSRP in stores. However, when you're buying new, what are some of the pros and cons of buying new, right? And so when we talk about buying new, a lot of people feel supporting publishers and designers is important. And I agree. I believe that it is important. Another consideration when buying new is Kickstarter, right? Fear of missing out. Companies such as Simon and many others, they do a great job in fear of missing exclusives. Stretch goals can create urgency. That sort of now or never mentality, right? The realization that also, some games did not stay in the collection, and selling games could also mean taking big losses. Now I want to talk about my experience with buying board games used. Initially, of course, I had some hesitation, right? What when we're talking about buying games used, we don't know the condition of these games. Is there missing pieces? Is there damage? Is there smoke, perhaps, pets, etc.? There's a lot of unknowns when purchasing used. The reality that I've discovered, and this is what I'm trying to pass on to you, is I've probably bought well over 100 games used, and many of them have come barely played conditions. Oftentimes, they come in excellent condition. Mm, At least 50% of the time, I would say, not even open and unwrapped in like new condition. I've also received unexpected bonuses. Extra expansions have been included sometimes, but not in the list description of the game. Sometimes premium card sleeves were already were sleeved. The cards were sleeved in Dragon Shield and Titan and these other premium sleeves that probably doubled the worth of of the game that I bought. Marvel Champions comes to mind. I bought a big haul with Marvel Champions, and it was all sleeved with premium sleeves. That really, that I don't know what that cost. It was a good amount. Sometimes they come with organizer inserts, and promo content. The other thing that has been my experience with buying used is financial flexibility. When I'm buying low, the cost is lower barrier of entry for me. I'm able to purchase multiple games. I'm able to purchase a game maybe for $10 that normally would cost me 30 or 40. So I can get two or three or four of them. If my budget might be 40 or $50, that might be four or five $10 games, and they can be still very good games in my experience. And also, for me, purchasing used has really felt less risky. Over the time, I've become more comfortable buying used. So the case for buying new. So then, what's the case for buying new in compared to what we just talked about in the used price market for games? It sounds like the used game market has a lot of positives over buying new. I will say that buying new can give you a peace of mind. What you pay for is what you get. A lot of times we know the description of the game, the condition, it's coming sealed, 99% certainty. I know I have read of times that there were, I was going to say bugs, not bugs, but defects in the board games. Sometimes there could be missing pieces, etc. But usually, of course, if you do purchase new and you open it within the warranty period, you can usually get those replaced. And that comes with the peace of mind for buying new. You're supporting creators, right? You're supporting creators. Sometimes you're finding hard to find or hot releases straight off the press. Kickstarter exclusives that you truly care about, you can get those new when you're ordering on Kickstarter or GameFound. Again, well, sometimes they don't get delivered, but for the most part, when they do get delivered, you know what you're getting, and you're getting a lot of exclusives. Special collector or personal attachment to games. So special collection items. Settlers of Catan 10th edition, 10th year anniversary edition, and games that could just be very very special to you. There's a case for buying them new. There's some games that I will not buy used, and that I will buy only new. And of course, sometimes some people just enjoy being the first owner. They love unwrapping the plastic. They love that experience. Board games is it's a very emotional attachment to a physical product when you purchase a game as opposed to something like a video game. The case for buying used. So when we're talking about buying used, we're talking, of course, about lower cost, especially as prices rise. Less resale loss. Okay, less resale loss. So we see when you purchase a game that might be $50, that's normally $100 MSRP. If I do go to resell that, if you do resell your games, you can probably get your $50 back or close to it as long as the condition is good. So you're not really taking that big of a loss. You can avoid hype pricing after the buzz fades. So generally, of course, for myself, I don't buy games that are all the new and the hot and the rage. I'll wait a year or two. I'll wait for more nuanced, balanced reviews to come out, as opposed to a lot of you say YouTubers that are there and reviewers that are there strictly to hype the game. We're not really getting fair and balanced reviews. And of course, when people first purchase a game that they just spent $200 to $300 on, they want to tell you that it's a great game. And that emotional, you can't accept the fact that you just paid $200 or $300 on a lemon of a game or a dud. Sometimes you will get more value out of a used game. You can get expansions. You can get sleeves cards, upgraded components with the money you save on purchasing the game. You can take those funds and redirect them to other things. I find that also another case for buying used is it does encourage patience. I've sat on games that I've really, really wanted. If it doesn't come into the price range that I want, I just won't get it. There are hundreds of games, thousands of games out there. They're all good, many good ones. You just have to have patience, right? I have had a couple of times where I have been impatient and paid the price, like literally paid the price that they were asking, that the seller was asking. And I probably could have got the game for cheaper, but that's okay. In those instances, it was a game that I really, really wanted, and I was comfortable with paying a higher price. And of course, when you're talking about buying used, it helps to combat the FOMO, or fear of missing out, right? You're not going to always get those Kickstarter exclusives. You're not always going to get those hard to find, and that's okay as well. So, what's my current philosophy in when it comes to purchasing games? So, for me, it helps me when again, I like to slow down when the hype hits, that I'm not all in and purchasing and purchasing and purchasing. I'll ask, is this a long term or an impulse, a long term or impulse purchase? um, and then also, if I'm unsure, I will always look used. I will look on the used market. I will research. I will feel really good about my purchase and do my due diligence. If if it's a forever game, then in those situations, buying new feels okay. But again, do your research, right? I'll do my research. And if I know that I bought many, many games new that I've kept for a very long time because I did a lot of research, I felt confident there was going to be a game that I would enjoy and enjoy for a long time. Okay, lastly, I just want to ask you, the listener, has rising prices changed how you buy your games? Games are getting more and more expensive, whether it be through inflation, tariffs, etc. How has that affected your purchasing habits? Do you tend to look used? Do you tend to buy new? Do you look for sales or discounts, or do you go to the dings and dents section of the board game store? Do you feel more tempted by Kickstarter for FOMO, fear of missing out? Is that something that affects you? Do you feel that nervousness and feel like you have to jump in and get it? What's the best unexpected bonus that you've gotten buying used? Have you gotten those surprise expansions? Have you gotten, and maybe an extra game was in there? Again, maybe it was sleeves or other premium components that you didn't expect. And do you prefer being the first owner of a game? Is that something that you take pride in? Anyways, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this as sort of a new segment for me. I hope to continue with different types of videos of this type, kind of giving my insights, sparking some debate, listening to you, the user, the listeners. I want to hear your side of the story. If you like the video, let me know. If there's any topics you'd like me to cover, let me know. And again, thanks a lot for listening. And we'll see you on the next video. Keep playing, keep painting, and take care, guys. Bye bye.